Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Great to have you on this platform.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are we ready? Are the others on?
We just have a few who are on right now. We just wanted to give it maybe another couple, 2-3 minutes. But I'd like to welcome you onto this platform. It's a pleasure to e-meet you.
You are Lenovo?
Well, my name is Thomas. That's just the computer I'm using,
Thomas.
but my name is, yes. And I'm the moderator for today. Yes.
Excellent.
I'm today's moderator.
Is Margaret around, my namesake?
Yes, I believe she is, but she's muted at the moment.
Good afternoon, Professor Maggie.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay. How are my namesake?
I am good. How are you?
I'm so pleased.
Are you all ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we are ready to go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first Practical Survival and Revival Business Strategies e-conference. My name is Thomas Twesige, and I'm your host or moderator this afternoon. And joining us already is our guest of honor, Dr. Maggie Chigozie. Our panelists are here. We have panelists ranging from all walks of businesses. We have Margaret, who is from Eloquent Business Solutions, who are also the main pioneers or the main people who put this conference together. We have Mr. Roy Gako Masiga, who is the lead at Imuka Access, and he's also a panelist with us, and he had a very huge play in this conference. We also have Kenneth Legacy, the managing partner and investment chief officer of the 97 Fund. We have Immaculate Chigundu Nasuna, who is going to be talking about perspectives on retaining all customers, but she's also a managing partner and business strategist. So we're honored to have Dr. Maggie with us this afternoon, and she'll be officially opening this conference. And we look forward to sharing with her and learning from her and things of that nature. Now, to just set some ground rules, we, as you come in, would like for you to be able to follow some guidelines. And these are our simple guidelines. First of all, this webinar is going to last 2 hours tops. We have 7 panelists all discussing strategic topics. And as you log on, we would ask you to please mute your mic, or you'll actually find that your mic has already been muted. And that is so that you do not disrupt the speakers who are already on. And in case you have a query or question, please use the Q&A platform provided on the Zoom menu. Make your questions very clear and address them to a particular speaker so that since they're covering different areas of business, they know exactly how to respond. I also think that for now, if you come on board, except for the panelists, you may also mute your video. It actually helps with the way you handle the data so that you can hear clearly and not miss out on any of the topics that are going to be coming up shortly. With that, I would like to invite Dr. Maggie Chigozie to take the floor and basically just lead us and open this conference. Doctor. Doctor, you may have to unmute your mic.
Thank you. I had forgotten that when you mentioned muting, I did. Anyway, thank you very much, Thomas. Can everyone hear me? Hi, Margaret. Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
I want to start by welcoming the participants. It's an important subject that we are discussing today. Many of you are probably in business, running businesses, and you know, survival and revival business strategies at this time are critical. As Uganda and SMEs, we are, and we've been, you know, this data has been collected, the most entrepreneurial country in the world. We start businesses. We're good at that. Every day somebody's looking at, you know, I'll start chicken, I will do this, you know, tailoring, fashion, you know, every day people are thinking of businesses. And over the years, a lot of the businesses used to close. But I think we can appreciate that in the last few years, we have seen our businesses actually thrive and grow. Not necessarily that all of them were closing. And it was because of work that many people are doing. You know, yourselves, the panelists today, have been in this area, but also, you know, people like Moves, people like Enterprise Uganda, you know, we've been working on building the capacity of the women and the men. I have focused quite a bit on the women, and I'm happy with the progress we are making. But then came this disaster. We are in COVID-19, a lockdown for a whole month, a lockdown without preparations. It wouldn't have been too bad if somebody had said, we will lock down next Friday. But no, it was lockdown done today. And that was really a shock for everybody. Secondly, you couldn't imagine how long it was going to be. Is it going to be 1 week? Is it going to be 3 weeks? Is it going to be? And it has gone on to be, well, 5 months actually so far for quite a few people. So our businesses have been badly hit. Some sectors more than others. I think we also education. So many private schools, all the way from NAS and struggle. They have. We don't even see, are they coming back in August? You don't see any guideline to that. We saw tourism completely shattered. We've seen a little bit of opening here and there, but not tourists for sure, no transport. So transport and logistics is another sector that was really badly hit. And the borders are only beginning to smile on the 27th, I think, officially, although we see some of them working outside. So it's a difficult time for many others. Those were just some examples. I'm a farmer. I could not sell my eggs for a while. I'm happy to say the market is coming back. But many people got rid of their chicken. And you know, so there are problems there. Matoke, the prices have plummeted. So really, I want to thank Margaret and the team for inviting us here to discuss survival and revival business strategies. You've brought in exciting panelists who seem to, I look forward to hearing what they have to say. So really, mine I will come back to close, and then I'll give a few more. By then, I will have heard what the panelists and what questions are coming from you as the participants are saying. So I look forward to this event. I'm sure we shall all benefit tremendously from the ideas that will come out of here. So Thomas, I want to hand back to you to set the ball rolling. People are waiting to hear from the experts that you have put together. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. That was a good start. And yes, so our first panelist this afternoon is none other than Margaret Nakakande, who is the Managing Director of Eloquent Business Solutions. Well, she'll be talking about surviving operations of a business during a prolonged recession. I believe she has great experience and a wealth of knowledge to share from there. Just before Margaret comes on, would like to appreciate our partners, of course, Eloquent Business Solutions, Imuka Access, Oracle Edge, the 97 Fund, and Piatto Restaurant, who have really helped us to be able to be here this afternoon. Now, over to you, Margaret, as you take us away.
Thank you very much, Tom. Can you hear me? Thank you very much, Tom. I'm so delighted.
We can hear you loud and clear.
I'm so delighted to be part of this conference this afternoon. I will add onto my voice to welcome each of you. And I thank you for prioritizing your money and time to participate in this very important conference. And I task you to listen in carefully so that you see through those strategies that are going to benefit and support operations of your business during this crisis. My name is Margaret, as Thomas put it forward. And I'm here to take you through, to give you strategies that are going to help you survive operations during this crisis. To most entrepreneurs there, I would say success means realizing profits in businesses, satisfying targeted clients, and enhancing welfare of employees and owners. But currently, I believe there are very, very few businesses that are achieving that. Even the agriculture fraternity that we thought maybe remained operational during that period, they are also staggering. You can't imagine if somebody mentions that a bunch of matoke can be got at 500 shillings. I mean 500 shillings, not dollars. You can't imagine this. And what does this communicate to us? Every sector has been hit by this crisis immensely. Companies are struggling. Even when we would have resorted to searching jobs, they are nowhere because most companies have downsized, they have been retrenched, they are suspending employee contracts. Seeking work from abroad is no longer possible. So what is left with us? They are our businesses that we must concentrate on because they are the only remained source of income for us to depend on. And I believe anybody who has listened into the strategies we are going to put forward will be able to exist past COVID-19. Number one strategy, which is key, is going to be attitude of entrepreneurs. Attitude of entrepreneurs. You have to remain optimistic that whatever you are running, whichever business you're dealing with, has to remain operational during this period. Remember very well, you are the director, you own the vision of your business. And if you lose morale, whom do you expect to remain with the morale? gather your courage, self-motivate yourself, drive your team, and steer the performance back to normal within your business. Remember, businesses, I would equate them to roller coaster rides. They have ups and downs. Today, as you're still dealing with, something else comes in. And as we talk about crisis, COVID-19 crisis is a disaster in itself. It is unique. It has never happened. Some of us have never seen it since we lived. So what we are saying, it is not only your business that has been affected. Do not think COVID was manufactured for you, but inculcate a positive attitude, exhibit the I can do attitude so that you come back to normal. The next strategy that I would encourage people to take on is fully attend to their businesses. Your personal presence currently into your business is going to be paramount towards survival of your business. Remember, this is a period which has low cash flows, if I may call it that way. And what does this mean? You're going to keep on fixing up issues, keep fixing up so many things at hand. You have to prioritize activities. And you wouldn't blame anybody who left out a paramount activity unattended to because they lacked skills of prioritizing. This is the time you need to give full attention to your business. If you have another business somewhere or another employment somewhere, at least ensure you give it a day or you give it an evening to go through the checks and balances yourself so that you can enhance efficiency within the businesses. Create time to speak to your clients individually so that you get to know the ideas they have on plate. Sit and negotiate with your landlords and suppliers. Do not leave them to your employees. It is no longer business as usual. This is the time for strategic thinking. This is the time to making critical decisions. You need to be present to review objectives of your business because the current objectives you have right now are no longer working. They can't be applicable because we are in the new normal.
Margaret, we seem to have lost you. Are you still there? Margaret? Hello, Margaret. Are you still there? I think we've lost Margaret now. Something must be going on with her, her internet connection. I hope she'll be back soon. And if you can hear me, can someone just show a hand or something? Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well, Thomas. It's Margaret
okay.
We do not hear.
So it's Margaret who's off. Okay, great. Okay, so Roy, is Roy around?
Yes,
great.
yes,
I think, Roy, you should be getting ready to come on board just in a few minutes. I'd like to, in a special way, note that we have the Assistant Commissioner of the Ministry of Science and Technology, Mr. Joram Patrick Mugisha, who is also going to be a panelist later this afternoon. He's in the audience listening. So yeah, that's special. Just stay on and hear what he's got to say. Roy, I think it's about time that you come on board and share what you have from Imuka Access. I believe you're going to be talking about sourcing and mobilizing finance for finances to revive the business back to the desirable state. Is that right?
Indeed. Indeed.
Okay, Roy, you have the floor.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking time this Sunday afternoon to join us. We are humbled, and we hope that this will be a valuable opportunity for you to gain some strategies that you can make use in your businesses. So I'm going to share with you a bit about how you can mobilize resources for your business. And the scope will be sourcing, mobilizing, and optimizing finances to revive your businesses back. So, and I'll start with optimizing finances. And in order to optimize finances, I will focus on a very simple formula, which we all have in our businesses. And any business has revenue and expenses. And this simple formula is the total revenue minus your expenses is your net income. What does that mean? If you are spending more than what is coming into the business, then certainly you are digging a hole that you may not come out of. Okay, so at these times, what do you need to do to ensure that you are able to optimize your resources? One, when it comes to expenses, are you able to reduce some of these expenses? Are you able to cut down on some of these expenses? For example, if you have maybe a 10,000 square office and you are about 10, maybe less, do you need all that space or you can cut down? So you need to review on some of your costs and expenses, okay? And especially the fixed costs, rent, basic costs, and see what are some of those costs that you can cut down on or mitigate. Then, are you in a position to negotiate better deals with your suppliers? For example, during this time, can you negotiate a bit low when it comes to your suppliers? Then, when it comes to revenues that you actually need to ensure you need to generate revenues despite the tough times, are you able to, one, increase the number of customers? Yes, at this point in time, we understand the behavior of the customers is there's hesitance to spend because many want to save due to uncertainty. Are you in a position to encourage and find ways in which you can increase your customer base? Okay, I'll give you an example at Imuka. Ideally, we had sign-up fee for our clients. We had to allow them to sign, and based on the gaps that we find, because our background is we support businesses to make them investment ready and connect them to financials, we had to actually adjust the terms of engagement and onboard them, and then based on the gaps, they pay for the cost that we work on. So these are some of the approaches that I would highly recommend. Look at, can you diversify also the revenue stream? For example, if you are depending only on a market A, can you also look and explore on market B or C? Because at this point in time, you may find reliance on one customer segment or one customer may not be fruitful at all. So I would highly recommend that we look at how can we increase on our revenue streams or our revenue, and how can we reduce on our existing expenses in a way that we can always have a net income that is positive, and the business is cash flow positive and not negative. Because when it is negative, you will certainly find yourself down or in closure, because you will not have finances to run the business, and that is very important. Now, in line with my next area of discussion, I'll be sharing more on sourcing and mobilizing resources. Now, when it comes to sourcing and mobilizing of resources, I'll start with avenues where you can secure debt. So the most obvious area that you can potentially secure debt is the commercial banks, but they are not the only sources that you can secure money for your business. We also have existing circles, saving and credit cooperative societies. We have investment clubs. We have credit unions. We have financing companies that have just registered to finance businesses. We have quite a number of different organizations whose specialty is purely to support access to monies. So, and also microfinance companies. The challenge is most of the commercial banks and microfinances, based on the existing policy, they have had to realign their financial portfolio, because many of their clients have not had the resources to pay their existing financial commitments. So this has made them hesitate in terms of delivering and providing finance. Nonetheless, as long as you have a good opportunity or a good cash flow in terms of their records, they will surely be in a position to negotiate and give you some financing. The other avenues in which you can secure loans, we have government support schemes. Here in Uganda, we have the Youth Livelihood Fund. It exists in some of the banks. We have the Youth Venture Fund. It also exists in some banks, though they have certain conditions. We have the Women Enterprise Fund, which also exists and can be accessed based on the prevailing conditions that has been set. And finally, the Uganda Development Bank, which has been recapitalized to actually support entrepreneurs in accessing financing for their business. But to secure financing, which is of loan, one of the things you need to pay attention to is, if it is on the commercial banks, chances are they will ask you for collateral. Now, many of you will ask, what if I don't have collateral? What am I going to do? So I'll give you alternatives. So one, if you have a good cash flow in the bank at given times can allow you to withdraw beyond the balances that you have in your account. Okay, we call them overdrafts. So sometimes the banks can allow you to actually withdraw overdrafts. The other avenue is if you are owed money by some of your clients and they are yet to pay. Based on those agreements, you can actually go to the bank and use that as collateral, because we call them accounts receivable. This is money you're expected to receive, but you need money urgently, probably to execute a certain task. As such, you can actually negotiate to secure financing. You can also, depending on the arrangements, for example, if you buy products or stock from a given supplier or distributor, sometimes they can give you inventory financing or money for stock, not necessarily money in cash, but they can give you stock in advance. Okay, and that will still be equivalent to financing your stock. And then there's, if you have a purchase order or a supply order or a contract, that can also be supported when it comes to financial institutions that offer loan. Now, beyond debt or loans, we also have opportunities of accessing patient capital. Now, we understand during this COVID time, some of the strategies you may want to implement may not necessarily allow you to immediately get returns. And as such, you may actually need patient capital, or in our terms, we call it equity. For you to secure patient capital, there are various sources. One of the sources is family and friends. Don't ignore your family and friends. There could be those who are fairly liquid at this point in time, and they could be able to give you some leaning to support you in your business. Then we also have crowdfunding platforms. Now, these are platforms that allow people who are interested in investing but do not want to risk a lot. Maybe they want to invest an equivalent of 50,000, 100,000 in a business to invest together. So these platforms exist to make it possible for small investors to actually invest together in a particular business. Some of these platforms include Kiva, Kickstarter, there's Indiegogo, there's GoFundMe. There are so many crowdfunding platforms, and you all need just to Google and check them out and see. Many a time, projects or companies that are supported are those of impact or trying to deliver impact on the community, and usually this conveys very positively on those who want to contribute or donate to such causes. Then we also have business angels. Business angels are individuals who have high net worth. They have disposable income. They have established themselves in the entrepreneurship industry and would like to invest in potential emerging business opportunities. One of the organizations that supports this is or coordinates this is CAIN, which is Kampala Angels Investment Network here in Uganda. And usually it makes available opportunities for angels or business angels or high net worth individuals to actually come in and invest in potential startups. Then we also have incubators. Now, incubators provide an avenue where if you cannot probably afford the typical office or access technical support at the premium price of getting consultants, you can actually go in such places and you get supported. Here in Uganda, we have quite a number of incubators. There's Innovation Village, there's FinAfrica, there's Outbox, there's Hive Collab, there's Startup Hub. There are quite a number of hubs. And if you have a startup and you're looking, maybe I don't have office space or I need support and I may not be able to afford, we have a number of incubators which are there and available to actually support you as an entrepreneur to actually secure. Now, because you are not likely to pay so much or the normal standard price, it's equivalent to actually giving you that as capital. Then we also have accelerators. Now, accelerators basically usually support entrepreneurs and have financial partners. As such, they help entrepreneurs access financing. So we have a number of accelerators. One of them is Bid Network. There is Growth Africa. There is Imuka Access. And that is one of the things we do in terms of making entrepreneurs ready and actually connecting them to financing to grow and achieve their business goals. Then we also have venture and impact capital organizations who are keen to actually invest in potential future or impactful businesses. And we have some of them include Agdevco here in Uganda. There is PAL Capital, there's Yungo Capital. There are quite a number, and also private equity. All these organizations are there to actually enable entrepreneurs access patient capital. Then we have other avenues in which you can also access capital. So for example, we have tenders and bidding opportunities. You'll find either in newspapers or in organizations, they have an opportunity that you can bid, and based on the opportunity, you can actually secure a contract. Now, many a time you don't need to pay to actually get some of these opportunities. So in a way, you can actually raise funding by delivering on a tender or a bid that has been converted into a contract to your company. We also have usually grant and calls for proposals online. When you Google and check on the internet, there are quite a number of grant opportunities and proposals that you can actually take advantage of and apply. Then you may have money or some money to either transact, maybe purchase goods or market, but you may find as an individual, it may not be enough to actually achieve either a purchase opportunity. For example, if you import goods from China, or you promote goods or you export, this may be the time where you collaborate with like-minded entrepreneurs and actually do as a group. So you can purchase as a group, as such saving, and you can also sell as a group or promote as a group, and it also allows you to make savings, but equally achieve a goal that you would not ideally achieve as an individual. Then we also have entrepreneurship competitions, which come here and there. One of them is Anzisha Prize, Seed Stars. There are so many entrepreneurship competitions, and you just need to check out, especially on the internet, to see which entrepreneurship competitions. So you may have a unique idea that is solving the COVID crisis. Such competitions are there to actually tap into that idea and make it a reality. And this is equivalent to the COVID support opportunities. Currently, when you type on the internet, you're likely to see quite a number of emerging opportunities to enable you access support. Then you may actually have assets that you are no longer using. You know, you do not ignore some of the assets that you have and you are actually not in need. You can actually sell and ensure that you can be able to proceed with business without any challenges. Now, you will realize that as we are sharing this, you can see possibilities, and all I would like to encourage is it is both a mindset and also in the action. Now, you need to change your mindset to be positive, and that is why I will quote Robert Kiyosaki, who emphasized that you need to change your internal economy to impact on your external economy. If you look at the external economy, if you expect to succeed in your business, even during times of crisis, your internal economy should be in a position to actually impact on that external economy. When there is crisis, you need to look at it as an opportunity to actually emerge, because certainly there will be a need and a want, and people are willing to pay for it. If your mind is that positive, then chances are it will tap into that opportunity. I would also like to quote James Allen, who also mentioned that the mind is the master weaver of the inner garment of thought and outer garment of circumstance. So if you look at circumstances as bad, as negative, that is it. That is how you will perceive it. But if you look at the circumstances and see opportunity in them, then it will actually weave the right opportunities. Finally, being a Sunday, I will quote the Bible, which is Matthew 7, verse 7, which says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will be opened for you." So I would like to encourage entrepreneurs out there, look at it positively. With a positive mind, you will see things differently. You will see them as opportunities. You will embrace them and conquer. And I would like to wish you all the best as you source, as you mobilize and optimize on finances to survive and revive your businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Roy. That was quite an interesting presentation. I also noted that when you talked about crowdfunding, there's actually a new crowdfunding platform in Uganda called the Dolphin Fund. And they've used it primarily for helping people who have needs, major needs, but also I saw that a young businessman was actually supported to relaunch his business. So I think that is one of the areas that people could check out. Now, before we get to our next speaker, I'd like to inform you that if you have any questions for the panelists, please post them in the Q&A part or in the chat group if you have. If you can't find the Q&A, at least go to that chat and post your questions for the relevant panelists. So we're going to have another panelist coming on, and after him, we're going to a Q&A where I will post your questions or ask your questions to the panelists, directed to the panelists, and they will answer, and then we will move forward with the program. In a special way, I would like to recognize Eloquent Business Solutions, Imuka Access, Oracle Edge, the 97 Fund, and Piatto, the Piatto Restaurant, for sponsoring this online event. Our next speaker is Mr. Kenneth Legacy, and he is from the 97 Fund. So let's get ready to hear from Mr. Kenneth Legacy, who is going to take us through a number of things that they do at the 97 Fund. Mr. Kenneth Legacy. Mr. Kenneth, are you here?
Yes. Hi guys, good afternoon.
Good
Can you hear me?
afternoon, Kenneth. Yes, loud and clear.
All right, yeah. So sorry, I hope my network stays through and does not disconnect. It's a pleasure to be here and to be speaking to all of you. My name is Kenneth Legacy. I'm the CEO, CIO at the 97 Fund, which is a venture fund that provides financing for early stage entrepreneurs. It is managed by a company called Otis Africa Capital. As we go through the session today, I will be writing in the chat some links, and I don't know, I'm hoping that I can be allowed to send messages to everyone. But I'd like to be typing in the chat some links that people can go to. I've been asked to speak on funding opportunities available in this time that are being offered by the 97 Fund, but I'll just talk about what the 97 Fund is before I go into those funding opportunities. The challenge a lot of early stage businesses face is that they might not have the experience, the know-how, and the capability to be able to build out a business at the very early stage. Most of the time, what we need as entrepreneurs as we're building our businesses might not be the funding, but it might be all the makeup and all the building blocks we need to be able to attract the funding. At the 97 Fund, we believe in finding and funding our most promising entrepreneurs that are building the next, I don't want to use the word unicorn, but the next large businesses of Africa. We focus on across different industries, including financial services, education, healthcare, agriculture, creatives and arts, manufacturing, and we aim to be what you'd call an institutional co-founder. In other words, we support you in building your venture through support in things like your business model and your strategy, recruiting your team, coming up with your go-to-market strategy and giving you partnerships to go to market. And we do that by providing that support. So it may be incorporation of your business, financial management, thinking through what a co-founder's agreement should look like, coming up with a shareholder agreement for yourself as a business, linking you to potential partners that are going to buy your product. So we do all that at the 97 Fund. But for the purposes of today's presentation, I've been required to speak about funding opportunities in this time. At the 97 Fund, we have a fund we've put together that is providing funding for entrepreneurs that are facing challenges as a result of COVID-19 or that are helping our economy, especially in Uganda, address the challenges due to COVID-19. And what we are doing is we're providing equity-free funding. It means we don't take a stake in your business for this funding of between $2,000 and $10,000 to businesses that are either solving the challenges caused as a result of COVID-19 or preparing our economy for the future after COVID-19. And these are in sectors such as supply chain and logistics, digitalizing delivery of goods and services, supporting frontline healthcare delivery, or indeed provision of healthcare services, including to the last mile and rural communities, providing relief funding, so concessionary type financing, especially for SME businesses. And we do that by taking applications from entrepreneurs at a URL. So I don't know how I type that URL in the, okay, there, I type to everyone. By taking applications at, you'll see there covid19.cda.ug, but also by taking emails with a pitch deck for the business at the 97@autosafrica.com. For the applications we get, we take them through a screening process, which culminates in a demo day where judges evaluate your business. For those that are successful at the demo day, we then put those businesses to an investment committee that makes a decision on whether we should award financing or not. And the decision of the investment committee is driven a lot as well by the kind of impact your business is driving in terms of the number of jobs you're creating, especially amongst youth and women. We are in the process of fundraising so that we're able to provide more capital to Ugandan businesses. At the moment, we're giving those grants or equity-free financing of between 2K and 10K, but we'll be supplementing that with more commercial financing, which may be more equity financing, where we take a stake in your business as a 97 fund, or it may be debt-type financing, or it may be revenue-based financing. In other words, financing that helps you hit certain revenue milestones, and then the fund would share in proportion to your revenue. So I'll stop there for now, and I look forward to the panel session. But I thought I'd just give you an overview of the 97 fund, and you're all welcome to just check out the URLs I'm posting in the chat, so you can know more about the 97 fund and us, Autos Africa Capital, who are managing it. So thank you very much, and I look forward to our panel session.
Thank you, Kenneth, for very short but sweet presentation. Now, I'm looking through our chat to find some questions. I haven't found any questions yet. I was wondering whether our participants don't have any questions. We'd love to hear from you so that we can ask our panelists, that is Roy, Margaret, and Kenneth, who have just spoken, to answer a few questions or highlight or expound on the issues they just talked about. If you have a question, please, you can raise your hand or actually just post the question here so that they can answer this. Okay, we have a question here. I think this one is directed to Kenneth from Darlene Atwebembede. And she's asking, who qualifies for the funding? And do you have any examples of people who have qualified? This is for you, Kenneth.
Yes. Thank you very much, Darlene. So as I've mentioned, we are targeting early stage businesses. That means we do not fund ideas. So don't come to us with an idea. But you must be have started on your venture, at least have a prototype, have some customers who would be willing to pay, and the business could be impactful in terms of either creating jobs or solving the problems we are facing as a result of COVID-19. Of course, we do not fund what are called the sin industries. So we are not going to be funding gambling and alcohol and I don't know, prostitution and that kind of thing. But we will be funding, we're pretty much, I mentioned this.
Kenneth, are you still there?
sectors. If you're in the agriculture sector, education, healthcare, media. Yes, I'm here. I was just answering the question.
Great.
Yeah, transport and logistics, creatives and arts. If you're an early stage business in those sectors, you qualify for this funding. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if Dalen had a question about.
I think that's actually Dalen's question. Unless she has another one, I think you've expounded on that. There's a question here going to Roy from Hadija. And her question is, do people who have startups also have access to funding? I think I don't know what perspective she's speaking from, but I would like to think she, from ideation stage, I believe. Roy.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Access to funding is open. Ideally, you'll find in Africa, rarely do we find, okay, it's there, but it's not so much. Pre-seed, that is idea stage, you're just thinking and you secure funding. Many a time, if you have a startup, the recommendation is do something. Get some commitments from potential clients who are willing to pay for your product, even if you don't have it. Get some level of commitment from potential users or customers. Now, that may give opportunity or confidence to somebody who is going to give you money to actually give you money. And that is why when you have a startup or you are on pre-startup, we encourage you to do what we call customer discovery. Engaging potential customers. If you can secure potential commitments or expression of interest or demand that necessitates financing to actually get the product to them, then that is a possibility of accessing financing. So that is what I would encourage. So it is possible, but it's really how you go about it. Are you just showing the idea, or you have something to actually show, prove that it's something that is going to work? And that's why Kenneth also mentioned, do you have a prototype? Do you have something that indicates that you're in that direction towards something that is bankable? So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Roy. I think those are all the questions we have for this particular session. Okay, there's one more question that just came in from Edu Mogere, and this one is for both Roy and Kenneth. And the question is this funding limited to Ugandan businesses or companies incorporated outside the country? For example, can people from within the East African region qualify? Then also another question before you come on, from Florence Namaganda. She says, do NGOs qualify for this kind of financing as well?
So I'll respond.
Yes,
we focus a lot on impact and, like I said, creating jobs and addressing the challenges of COVID-19, especially in this time. We are focusing on businesses that are operational or whose operating model is in Uganda. So it may be a business incorporated elsewhere, but when you're applying to us, it's for activities and for operations and for alleviating effects of COVID-19 or creating jobs in Uganda. We will be interested. You'll be eligible for this funding. I don't know if that answers that question.
I believe that does. Then, Angela, there was another question for, do NGOs qualify for this kind of funding or financing?
Again, yeah, I know that's for Rod, but I know for the COVID-19 relief fund we're running, NGOs would qualify. We want to see, again, impact, youth and women, creating jobs, addressing challenges of COVID-19. Maybe one thing I'd caution is NGOs tend to operate on a model of we take money, we spend it. We want to see sustainability in your business model. So we're not going to give you money the way you get just a grant plan to spend and then you report afterwards. No, you have to be able to show us that even after we've given you the funding, you'll be able to be sustainable going forward as a business. For example, we have an NGO who's applied for funding, and what they do is they provide training to micro businesses within rural communities or within inner city, lower income areas in Kampala or in Jinja or in Mbale. And they want to use the funding to be able to encourage the businesses they support to save in a circle by giving them micro grants and micro loans to those businesses. What happens then is that micro loan becomes sustainable because when interest is paid back, they have money to then lend on to others. So that even if they're an NGO, they've thought about a sustainable model by incorporating a circle and associated lending within their business model.
All right, thank you so much. There's a question from Omolo Ouma Ronald, and he asks, I think this again is also fielded to both you, Kenneth, and Roy, and he's asking, what's your comment on social enterprises? Is there a line of financing potential for these social enterprises?
So a social enterprise is just, the way I see a social enterprise, it is a business model that incorporates not just financial returns, but is looking at impact and social returns. And most times what will happen is the way a social enterprise is able to achieve this is by having a business model where certain people pay to subsidize others. Yes? But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a social enterprise is not seeking profit. So this financing would be able and there are investors out there, especially impact investors, who want to give money to social enterprises. So we would, as the 97 Fund, support social enterprises. Yes. So that is not that is not outside. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to shoot all these. I have about 4 other questions, but we'll try and keep it as short as possible. So, first question from Louis. He says, when these jobs are created, what's the maximum number of initial employees eligible? That's from Louis. Secondly, from Fortunate, and I believe this one goes to Kenneth. He says, she says, great information shared so far, great thanks to our panelists. I found many funders putting a condition of 3 years. Does early stage include 1 to 2 years? This is for you, Kenneth. And then for Roy, there's a question from Dr. Patricia Achan Okiria. And her question is in regards to how to deal with risk management. If you obtained funding and seasons changed in agriculture, how does one deal with this challenge? So I think we can answer those and then go into the next session. Kenneth, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'll take the questions that have been addressed to me. So yes, in terms of the jobs created, we just want to create as many jobs and dignified jobs as possible.
Okay. Are you still there?
What's the maximum number of initial employees eligible? Better. So yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying the larger the impact, the better. So we don't have restrictions on a minimum number of jobs, really. As long as you're creating as many jobs as possible, good. So in terms of the condition of 3 years, I know sometimes when investors or funders are giving money to a business, they want to see at least 3 years books of accounts. Now, the definition of whether business is early stage or not is dependent on where they are in terms of maturity of their product versus acquiring customers versus revenue cycle. When we say early stage, for us, what we're targeting is businesses who may be pre-revenue. In other words, they might not be making money yet, and therefore it may have taken them 1 year, 2 years. Some may even be.
We lost you again, Kenneth. Hello, Kenneth? Okay, Roy, I
have taken them 3 years, 4 years of building how we define early stage. So when you come to us, no, we want to see customers who are willing to pay. And yeah, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We
No,
lost you.
I was saying our definition of early stage really is you have a prototype, you've started, you have customers who are willing to pay, and you want to scale this business. We're not going to ask you for 3 years audited books of accounts at this stage, because we're supposed to help you grow your business. So that's our definition of early stage. But if you've been around 3 years and you have the audited books of accounts, well and good. It just means you're more mature.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth. Roy, there was a question here on risk management. There's also another one which I'll share with you just before we move on. Turn on your mic, Roy. Your mic is off, Roy.
Okay, on risk management, it's an interesting question. What happens if you get funding, for example, for agriculture, and maybe the seasons change? So yes. One of the things you'll realize is rarely do external financiers, especially commercial financiers, finance agriculture, ideally on farm directly, because so many factors cannot be controlled. So many would prefer playing a role on the input side, helping you on the input, or on the post-harvest activities, agribusiness, the business, the trade. So, however, going back to the question, one, I would highly recommend that when you are pursuing especially large-scale commercial agriculture, pursue the opportunity of agricultural insurance. Currently, the government has subsidized access to this to encourage more people to actually secure. We actually have an entrepreneur who was doing large-scale poultry and lost over 7,000 birds. Well, she's back with 100 birds, but you can imagine how much pain that is when you have financing. Usually, however, if on the entrepreneurship side, that is a lesson. So any catastrophe that happens in your business is not one to make you give up, but to actually learn and see how can you refine, what moves should you make. So in agriculture, I would highly encourage agricultural financing. If there are ways you can practice it under controlled environments, for example, either in a greenhouse, or you can ensure there is irrigation, just to increase the chances of improving success. Usually that is highly recommended. So the other bit is pursue funds, not necessarily commercial, because that is highly risky, but pursue funds that are fairly agricultural based or on-farm based. So we have quite a number of NGOs that want farmers to actually improve in farming and have sustainable food security. So such opportunities, pursue and collaborate with them so that you can also benefit from some of their funds, but also funds that are low cost interest, just to ensure that you minimize the risk, so that when you minimize the risk, you can actually not lose much. Though if also it happens, for example, you lose post-season, you need to renegotiate. You need to inform your investors and financiers, you know what, this happened. Now, I have put these measures and I would like some support to actually ensure that I recover. I know that in the next period, A, B, C, D, I will be able to recover. This is what has just happened with the COVID, people who had loans. Obviously, many businesses have been affected and many have had to restructure their loans to actually, with the agreement that they're actually going to pay, but the structure is going to be different. So this is not any different. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. I think now we can cross over into our next session. And here we're going to be hearing in from Ms. Immaculate Chigundu Nasuna, who is the managing partner of Oracle Edge. And she's basically going to be talking about perspectives on retaining old customers and attracting new ones, especially in this season. Immaculate, could you take the floor, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Immaculate. I'm very honored to be here. I hope I can be heard. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
very
you loud and
well.
clear.
Okay, good.
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, my Zoom went off a few minutes, so I'm a bit on edge, but I'm honored. And I commend the previous panelists for having done a very, very good job. I am a business strategist in Oracle Edge and a managing partner. It's been about 2 years now, since we started the business. And my topic is about customer experience, which is a very, very nice topic. COVID-19 has brought a lot of uncertainties for us. Everyone is on edge. Small businesses are struggling. Yeah, I think it has affected everybody in one way or the other, which we shouldn't give up on. How do we retain our customers? Now, we overlook this. We don't listen to customers sometimes. It is a subject that is not taken care of, especially now that dynamics have changed. Essential commodities are the ones that are really making money, but they're also not making so much, because as you've seen, food is not making enough money as well, and it's a basic item because there's a lot of food. Anyway, how are we going to do this? Some of the strategies we are going to look at is customer feedback. We really have to change and follow on customer feedback. And I don't mean surveys here, because most of the businesses, okay, people don't have time to fill in surveys, but you need to listen to a particular customer and know exactly what they want. And those customers will help you, will spread the word. If they're given very good service, they will spread the word. Big companies have become very customer centric. But when it comes to SMEs, we are a bit lax about being customer centric, which is a very, very big problem. And then because of the change in dynamics, we also have to follow the customer's journey. Exactly. We actually have to get to the customer. That means deliveries, they are scared of coming to you because of COVID. I mean, and that's understandable. Maybe it doesn't show so much because everyone is struggling to make ends meet. But you as a business owner, you have to reach out to the customer, talk to them, be empathetic because the situation is changing and you have to be the big gun, trying to understand their situation, trying to talk to them, not marketing this time, so that they don't forget you and what you're giving them. So we really have to be very, very customer focused. Then we have to reimagine time after COVID. Things are still going to change. We've had people cutting down costs, but then you have to get your products and services out there. It is sad that, okay, some businesses are not yet up and running, but then there are other opportunities that we can reach out. Just say hello, how are you? Because when things change, you will not be forgotten. They'll remember, oh, so-and-so really reached out. Like, for example, I have another business, it's in stationery. And you see, we are really struggling, but my supplier calls to find out, how are you doing? How are things going? You know, and trust me, even if somebody comes with better prices, okay, I cannot forget that they really gave me a good time anyway. And basically we have to focus on the customer. Focus on the customer, keep on talking to them, keep on understanding them. Oh, and give them gifts. I know it's really hard because we are all struggling, but time is going to come where we have to cut prices to move our products. Now we are going to reward our customers. So this will be looked at in a very, very good way. And of course, they will keep coming back. You'll also get new customers through that. Because when you retain the old one, word of mouth is very, very important. They will talk to other people about your services. That is okay, a few points, if they're good, you have to be trustworthy, give excellent products, give what you have. Like an honest product. If it's not good, please don't give it out. If it's good, then sell it. Yeah, I think that's a kind of summary of
Are you still there, Amy? Immaculate?
how to retain, and because of the uncertainties, this wave will end. Hello?
We had lost you for a small moment,
Did I go
but you're
off?
back. You're fine now. Please go on.
Okay, okay. I thought I had gone off anyway. Well, I was actually just summing up a summary of what we should do. We follow up, follow the customer where they will go, empathize with them, and then reward them when somebody comes to you, because this is a hard time. When somebody comes to buy from you, at least find something, be it small, reward them. They will be happy and they'll spread the word to other customers. So you're retaining the customer who came in, and they will spread. And that is the way we are going to grow. Also, it is very hard to measure customer service or customer experience because sometimes you don't see it, sometimes customers don't come in. It's a hard thing. You can't measure it like tangibly, but it rewards you after some time. You just have to keep at it. It's hard work, but you have to keep at it, and happily, because it's a happy topic. Thank you very much. Bye. Hello?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Immaculate. Thank you for your short presentation. Again, guys, if you have questions, please field them to the chat group, and then you can be able to we can be able to go forward. Now, you remember earlier one of our panelists, Margaret, went offline and she was still sharing. So I'd like to ask her to come back and just spend 5 minutes sharing on the strategies that she had, and just complete that part of her presentation. Then we can have questions fielded to her and to Immaculate and to our next speaker. Thank you. Immaculate, the floor is yours. Please finalize your presentation. Oh, I mean, Margaret. Thank you. Yeah. Margaret. Is Margaret on?
How much can
Margaret? Okay, well, as Margaret organizes herself, I'm going to ask that Mr. Andrew Lubale, who is the head of HR at Uganda Breweries, and his topic is going to be maintaining a good workforce while in survival mode of a business. So, Andrew, are you here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Thomas. Maybe for a little clarity, I'm Andrew Luvale. I'm the people manager at Nile Breweries, not Uganda Breweries.
I'm sorry about that.
I want to thank you for inviting me. This is an honor to share some of our experiences, and it's a very good topic. How do we retain and maintain a motivated workforce during hard times like this? So I'll give you a perspective of Nile Breweries. One of the most important things is keep a clear line of communication, because whenever there are hard times, people begin speculating. So there should be a clear channel of communication with the workforce. If there's anything coming up, make sure that the employees are well informed. The other thing is, of course, there's an issue of cost. And at times like this, we have to really manage costs tightly. Now, how do we do this? We have to do this while keeping while ensuring that the cash flow is proper. Now, how do we do this? We need to avoid some of the wasteful expenditures to ensure that we still have a clear cash flow. Wasteful expenditures can be like, if you had planned to travel for a meeting, can you opt, for example, to do a Zoom meeting? Now, by so doing, the cost of maybe buying MBs is much cheaper than someone traveling maybe from here to Mbara, for example. The other thing we can do is in the area of every company has been running to retrenchment as a solution. At Nile Breweries, we've not looked at that as the immediate solution. We've actually looked at as a last resort. So ensure that if you are looking at managing costs, let retrenchment be the last option. Look at the other options that you can do to manage costs. The other one has been salary reduction also, which is not also a very good one. Salary reduction also should come in as among the last. Look at other options of how you're going to manage costs. And you have to look at, for example, how do you ensure that you cut off areas where you could have done without. The other thing to motivate the workforce is, can you ensure at this time you provide the basic protective gears? For example, don't leave the aspect of wearing masks to be provided by employees. Can you make sure that the company is providing these face masks? Ensure that the employees also are getting sanitizers. If you have employees going out in the trade, can you ensure that they have portable hand sanitizers to use while they're in trade? The other most important thing also, can you have a task force? Have a task force that is purposely for this COVID-19 time. Now, what is the use of this task force? It should be to address COVID-related issues in the organization, because employees need to be sure that they are safe. So this task force should address how you would handle an emergency. For example, if you had a COVID case on site, it should address how to provide protectives. It should also address the aspects of how do employees behave in the workplace during these COVID times. And this COVID task force should be headed by the head of the organization. In Nile Breweries, this is headed by the country director. That gives it weight. Everyone knows that this is something very important. Then, if there are job openings in the organization during this period, can we avoid external recruitment? Can we fill these vacancies internally? Now, when you do this, you're motivating the people within to work hard and stay there. Then there are things that we also need to do, like, you know that we're having very many children now at home, not going to school, and the parents have taken a hit, especially where we have schools that are having online teaching. Now, what as an organization you need to do with that is ensure that you provide options for parents to work from home. What this provides is that they can provide some little time to support their children during e-learning, because this is very important. They don't want to lose their children to lose out because they are doing e-learning, and the parents are the ones to supervise. So you need to strike a balance there where you give the parents options to work at home. This should also be made clear that by working at home, they should not fall behind on their targets, but you're giving them some time to ensure that they can work at home while also taking care of the children, especially in the aspect of e-learning. Then as an organization, you need to be very responsive, especially to changes that come up. I'll give you a simple scenario. We have two sites, that is Jinja, Kampala, and Mbara. But everyone who stays in Kampala knows the challenge of jam in Kampala. So when we had the curfew, when it was put at 7 p.m., the Kampala office had to ensure that the employees can stop work at 3 p.m. to provide for curfew so that they can have that time to travel and get back to their homes while they are still within time before the curfew. Because if you're not responsive and you still insist, they have to work up to 5, then they have to struggle with the jam. Then that means they are going to be caught up in the curfew, and that is not motivating. It only breaks down people. Then the other thing is to ensure that at the workplace, there's proper social distancing. And if you have a work environment where there's very little space, then can you provide for work rotation? Work rotation here means that you can have some people come in specific days while others stay at home. This also motivates employees. It gives the employees the comfort that our organization is really taking this seriously and is not putting our lives at risk. If the people have been sitting so close to each other, then the work rotation means that where there have been maybe 2 people on a desk, then you are having one and the other one works at home. And the time the other colleague is at home, the other one comes in. So you are providing that purpose. The other one I want to also tackle is the continuous communication. Now, this means that you have to engage employees closely. If you are an organization that has a union, ensure that you engage the union on very important aspects, that these aspects reach the employees so that they don't begin grumbling there and wondering what is happening. Then the COVID-19 task force that I talked about should also ensure that they have put up measures on how to respond in case you had a COVID case on site. What measures has the organization put in place to provide for that? I think that's a summary of the aspects I had, and I'll be open to questions. Thank you very much, Thomas.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for that very insightful discussion. I see we've got Margaret is back, finally. Margaret, we're going to give you about 3 minutes for you to finish your strategies. But ladies and gentlemen, you listened to Andrew. Please, you can field your questions in regard to the topic that he's just covered on. That's maintaining a good workforce while in survival mode of a business. There are quite a number of questions for Immaculate, but I'm going to ask Margaret to come on. And Margaret, you have 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Thomas. I've been boiling, and I think COVID is not doing so good to me. These are some of the challenges that have come up with COVID. Some of us who are digitally divided, we need to pull up our socks. Anyway, so many people have talked about cutting costs, and I would want to add on my voice to cutting costs. Some of the issues companies should take on is maybe some of them may reduce size of the products, but maintaining quality, especially to cater for those clients who are very sensitive to quality. And maybe because you know your clientele very well, better than me, you can as well compromise quality, but be very keen as you're compromising quality. What does it mean? You'll maintain the size of the product, but you may have reduced some components, some ingredients to that product. What does that mean? Some people who mind quantity, not quality, may be catered for in that case. And you may also have to play with the profit margins. There are some businesses that are gaining, are realizing 100% profits from their products. This is the right time for you to review that. You need to ensure that you achieve a price advantage over your competitors for you to survive within this period. Remember, there are low demand of products, and how do you ensure that you increase the purchases within your product? You need to think of cutting your prices. Then you can downsize, reduce on the outlets you have, especially after carrying out an assessment, and you ensure that some outlets are not making revenues, are no longer generating revenues, and no longer bringing in any cash. This is the right time for you to first pause them off, because by doing so, you're going to be lessening on the bills, reducing on the rent that you're paying for the outlets, and maybe also removing the staff benefits who are working within such outlets. For cutting the benefits, everybody has at least talked about it. And I'll also emphasize you to make strategic partnerships, engage landlords as much as possible, engage suppliers to renegotiate better terms and seek support. If there is a way you can suspend payments within your business, please do so. You may have to take note that business survival boils down to two things. And if you're able to answer these two questions, you'll be good to go. What are your levers to generate cash during this period? And the second one, what are the interventions to minimize expenses? So if you can lessen on your expenditure within your business, you'll be good to go. And the better ways to do so, you need to talk to your landlords and maybe suspend paying rent within this period until a better period of time when you feel the business has accumulated enough cash flow to start repaying back your debts. And then I know many of you have already restructured your loans with your banks, and we thank banks for tolerating this, for accepting this. Then another strategy that can better off be taken during this period should be diversification. You may agree with me, during this period, many of our clients are consuming more of needs, not wants and luxuries. So it's pity for most businesses that are dealing with luxuries. This is the time for you to re-strategize. This is a time for you to invent into new products so that you bring on a profile that is going to enable you generate some cash within the business. That is if funds allow, because most of these issues come with cost implications. But you know your business is better, therefore carry out assessments and see what is possible for your business. And then you may still have to sell more of the current product you have. You need to penetrate within the markets, the new markets you have not been reaching to. If you have been concentrated in Kampala, this is the high time. You should extend your product to Mbale. You should extend your product to Mbarara. You should extend your product to Arua, so that you acquire new customers on board, but at the same time dealing with the same product you have been dealing with. This means you may not incur costs in machinery and employees, but you will be extending your products to generate more revenue. And then what we shouldn't forget is to embrace IT. If you're digital divided, just like some of us, this is the time for you to hire IT experts, because this is the way to go. If you're not ready to embrace ICT in your business during this period, it is as good as kicking yourself out. Digitalize systems, put digitalized selling systems, introduce delivery services, create ordering and pay platforms, create cloud shops and display products in stock, provide all necessary information on those cloud shops so that clients do not have to reach you all the time. They do not get disturbed when they need certain information. Include prices, include discounts in case they are there, contacts to reach the businesses, include working hours, create social media platforms that are going to enable you advertise and maximize sales for your products. Record videos speaking about your company, take pictures and upload company photos on those websites. Be using the social media to advertise your business rather than, exchanging all sorts of other information that do not concerning your business. Involve a technical person to help you out. And then internally, especially in the service industry, please adopt to working online. Take on virtual meetings, take on virtual exchange of work and information and all that sort. But do not forget the crowd that doesn't have smartphones, because they are the majority. Keep sending SMEs to them because majority have phones, and also leave the salespeople to go into the crowd. But remember to provide PPEs to them so that they remain self-protected. And then another directive that most people are not conforming to is to conform to government directives. If you're going to operate in the new normal, you must conform to government new directives. Critically read the presidential directives that were put forward right from the beginning. Understand the directives that have been put by task forces, starting from the national ones to districts, because there are many of them and they have an implication. If you do not apply into your business, install hand washing dispensers, temperature measure gadgets, and whatever it takes for you to operate within this environment. And then introduce new selling modalities that are going to instill confidence into your customers, because remember, customers still have a phobia. The disease is still there and they are not sure who has it. Some people are asymptomatic, as we have been observing it. And how do we ensure that our businesses are not pointed out to have infected the disease to our clients? Please be sensitive, be keen on such issues in your businesses. And then those businesses that haven't taken on a formal direction, this is the right time for you to do so. For you to negotiate, for you to be part of the COVID rescue grants that have been put in place by different government institutions and funding agencies, you must formalize your business. Register your products with the Uganda National Bureau of Statistics, be certified, get URA certificates, go to Uganda Registration Services Bureau and incorporate your company. Because for you even to take on strategic partnerships with other companies, this will be a major requirement. Nobody is ready to deal with you when you're not formal enough. It is as good as that. For you to come out there and be able to negotiate contracts and so on, you must be formalized. And this is something you need to think about during this period, if you may have to benefit from any available funding. And then another strategy that is a bit weird to many who are out there will be to pause the business. I know this is a tough decision to be taken in the business, but it is very good for mental and physical well-being of entrepreneurs, especially being that you are the ones who are directing the enterprise. Suspend operations if you feel you are not ready to kick on the business. Re-strategize, but not forgetting that you may be having obligations to settle in between. As you suspend operations, do not give up, but be reorganizing yourself and rethinking through how best you're going to settle the obligations, especially that you have within your businesses right now. Those businesses which are highly indebted are highly recommended to take a pause of strategy. You may be there, the bank is threatening to imprison you, the landlord is threatening to confiscate the assets of your business, and I shouldn't encourage you to remain in operation during this period if you're in such a state. please pause off, but as you're pausing off, be rethinking how you're going to settle the obligations that you have. So that as you're keeping your assets somewhere in the store, by the time you resume your business, you may have settled the debts, but at the same time, you're now ready to take on the new opportunities that are generating within this period. And also those, especially the startups who have just established themselves, but they lack an established product on the market, and they lack finances to kick on and the knowledge to collect their pieces back onto the market. This is the right time for you to first settle, to first pause off your business and rethink through how best you're going to resume operations. And maybe also those companies that were existing, but were planning to put a new product on the market. This is the right time for you to first pause off that product and then relaunch it at the right time when we have, when this situation has been uplifted a bit. Lastly, I would say, do not forget to engage experts. You may agree with me that even before COVID-19, there were so many businesses that were, struggling. But this is the time for you to engage experts to pull off you out of that state of confusion. Because right now, yes, you were struggling before, and now COVID came in and disorganized you the more. This is the time for you to engage an expert to help you identify the right strategies for you to take on during this period. And maybe also, as we are talking about these strategies, many of them are generic in nature. So what are you going to do? You may fail to identify the right strategy to apply to survive your business. And this is the right time for you to engage an expert who is going to carry out a critical assessment onto your business and identify that very strategy that is going to suit you, to suit your business, to come out of this difficult season. Having said that, I'll take it back to the moderator to push you forward. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you for sharing those strategies. Very insightful indeed. Again, wonderful people, if you have questions for Maggie, her topic earlier on was surviving operations of a business during a prolonged recession. So you can field questions towards her in that direction. Without wasting any more time, I'm going to ask Joram Patrick Mugisha, who is the Assistant Commissioner at the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, to come on. His topic is strategic utilization of intellectual property in business survival. Joram, are you here, Joram?
Yes, I'm here.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation. Oh, sorry. Let me just get this. Yes. Are we together?
Yes, we are. We can hear you loud and clear. We can see you as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Patrick Mugisha is my name, and I work at the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, and the substantive head currently in charge of innovations and intellectual property management. I want to thank Maggie for reaching out to me and also to get me involved in this agenda for the day. Also want to thank all the panelists that have come before me for their input and insights that they've given to try and support the innovation ecosystem currently, especially
in this particular situation as relates to COVID. I've heard so much and I've learned so much, of which I appreciate. And I think some of the things even have been addressed, but ideally, in summary, to me, I believe that for every business, currently you may be operating, but one thing that is certain, you need an innovation strategy at the firm level. This will enable you and will equip you to give you direction in terms of uncertainties like this time. Any business that was had a rigid approach to making sure that it survives, I think these are
Patrick, are you still there? Patrick? Okay, Patrick seems to have gotten a challenge with his internet. Patrick? Patrick, are you there? Mr. Mugisha?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Perfect. What I was saying is that every company at this time requires to think of having an innovation strategy at the firm level. Companies that are going to survive at this particular time are those companies whose innovation strategy, if at all it's in place, is open to changes of this nature. That would mean that even if whatever is happening around you, your environment changes, you'll always be having something to pick over from your deposits to be able to make sure that you survive the times. This could be in terms of product differentiation. I'll give you a good example. Before COVID, less than 3 or 4 companies existed in this country that were manufacturing hand sanitizers. But when the need became apparent that the country needed more hand sanitizers, either companies that were in the same frame of mind, for example, those who are into the cosmetics and toiletry, immediately shifted strategy and decided, let us introduce a new product and differentiate our products and diversify and be able to have also hand sanitizers. Companies that never had that, were not in that space, immediately they had to acquire and install new processing line or product lines to be able to produce hand sanitizers. That's what I'm talking about. Masks, we never thought that in Uganda would ever produce masks. That's for sure. Masks that were there were always imported. But today, more than 40 companies are producing face masks. Both, now that's just the formal sector, but in the informal sector, there are too many. And I believe each one of you could be having a face mask, which actually has been produced or manufactured in the country. Now, issues of this kind of uncertainties, how do you integrate IP into your innovation strategy as a company or as a business, an entrepreneur, an innovator? Intellectual property is not something complex, but it's also a difficult thing to work with and employ into it as a company and make it part and parcel of your survival strategy in your innovation journey. IP essentially comes in different forms. And basically you're looking at, when you talk of IP, we are looking at what are those tangible outputs that emerge or maybe outputs of human creativity and ingenuity. So at the company level, if you are the CEO, certainly maybe you might not be the chief technical officer. You may not be the chief kind of like an innovator, something like that, who's actually running that company, but you have a team that you're working with. So what happens? How do you ensure that the product that you have today is able to survive 2 years down the road, 5 years, 10 years down the road? There are good examples. So IP in itself, be it you're looking at coming up with a new product, you'll exploit issues to do with patenting. You'll explore issues to do with protecting your industrial design. You're going to be able to employ things to protect with your trademarks. Most of the companies, I believe, on the platform today could be having only trade names and business names or company names. Now, those are different from trademarks. Those are different from trademarks. What is it that can differentiate your product and service in the market from that of your competitor? You need a trademark. And so all those kind of like a constitute or comprise of intangible assets. I'll give you an example. Why you need IP for your company is because if today your tangible assets, I mean, supposing fire ravaged your enterprise or establishment, how are you going to be able to stand again? What do you have as a backup plan? A company that has got a good share of tangible assets and also intangible assets has a chance. It has a chance to survive during turbulent times. And that's why you find globally, everyone recognizes that now we are living in what you call the knowledge economy. So knowledge is what is driving the economies of the world today. Businesses are actually shifting away from spending so much money onto tangible assets acquisitions to intangible assets acquisition. And that's why you find I can have a product today and I own a patent for that product, but I myself, if I come up with a startup, I may not be able to manufacture that and really meet what is required. But by licensing it out or through assignments, I'm able to create a new income stream for my business. So as government, how can we support in this aspect? If you're out there on this platform and you think in your enterprise, you've got something that you consider worth securing intellectual property for, please come through the host. You're going to be able to reach out to us at the ministry, and issues of funding for intellectual property assets acquisition. That is our role as a ministry. Uganda Registration Services Bureau is a registry. We handle you from the entire value chain, from the generation and pre-registration. We're able to help you out, submit your application, and then during commercialization, we've got an innovation fund through the National Research Innovation Program framework, where government is supporting innovators, researchers, to help them in the seeding phase and also the commercialization and scaling up of their solutions. Then enforcement, that is a role that you have to play as an inventor, because enforcement, you are the police of your own invention. You report to the police or to the authorities, they're able to take it up. And I want to thank the organizers for inviting Dr. Maggie Chigozi. I mean, she's one of the most sought for ladies in this country, professionally and also in terms of mentorship. And I want to thank her also for the time she spent at the Investment Authority and what she did. So essentially, this kind of mentors, when you have them within the innovation ecosystem, even upcoming, especially now looking at the girl child who's into entrepreneurship, you have, your bar is high. You have people you can look up to when it comes to leadership and governance, corporate governance, for you to make it through in your business. Thank you so much. For more information, kindly I'm going to post my details through the chat provision. But also, you're an innovator out there, you've got an enterprise, and you think you need some form of IP, kindly reach out to us. You can share more, we can take you through. And I hope this kind of engagement can actually bring another engagement, maybe where more innovators business can come, and we take you through as a ministry, the entire IP framework of the country. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you very much, Joram. I think that was a very insightful discussion that we've just been a part of. So thank you. Now we've come to a place, guys. If you have a question for Joram, please post it in the chat section, and he'll definitely be able to respond. Now I have a number of questions for Immaculate and for Margaret. Yeah. So, but I'll start with Immaculate. Immaculate, there was a question from Louis, and he asked, why is it harder to get a new customer than to retain an old customer? That's from Louis. Then Hadija also asked, how best can startups get customers during this time of COVID? Is there a new way that you can share with them that they are able to attract new customers? Then Dr. Maggie Chigozi also asked, is it the same for other customers, the suppliers and workers? I think we'll find some clarity in regards to that question, what she really meant. But more importantly, the final question came in from Gloria Adeti. She says, businesses have gone online. How can such businesses get customers and keep them, given that the interactions are now online? Yet there are those people who don't want anything to do with online. They're not used to it. They don't know about it. So basically, how would you advise for them to be able to migrate? So those are questions for Immaculate, and then I will field the questions for Margaret shortly after you answer those.
Thank you very much for those questions. Yeah, it's truly hard to get in new customers because they do not trust you. They don't trust your product. And the onus is on you to prove to them that you actually have a good product. And now, because things really changed, we really have to get down to understand customers' needs, to understand people are looking at essentials, people are looking at cutting costs. And you as an entrepreneur, you have to get down and work on a model that works for you. What product are you selling, or what service are you giving out? Is it really essential at this point? If it's not, what changes can you make? And now you have to go out to them and reach out. You have to be on social media all the time. Yes, it is an evolving, social media is just growing, people are just getting to understand it. But for starters, you can use the likes of WhatsApp. Everyone is on WhatsApp. Post your product on status all the time. Make sure people do not forget you. When somebody does not forget your product, one day they will think, oh, let me try it out. And make sure when they try it out, don't disappoint. That's why I insist on going back to your model and readjust. Are you honest about your product and service? Is it an essential one right now and basic? Because now you have to adjust to move these products. If it's a product that is perishable, then you also know where to adjust because you have to move stock. If it's one where you can wait, you just have to sit down and adjust based on what you have. But yes, they are there, they are customers. All clients will pay more for your product because they already trust you and they know you already they've tried your product. But also encourage the old clients to invite their friends, to invite their relatives by a small incentive. Give them buy one, get one free. Then they will know, oh, okay, we can always go back. And you see, when somebody talks about your product, it is easy to get in new clients. And you as well, you have to keep on talking about your product. Online, just learn as much as possible. Don't worry that many people are not yet online. Use the number that's online because you're not going to start with the whole country. But first focus on the one that's online. Put your brand out there so that people can know it. And for startups during this time, don't worry about that. Just adjust to what we are using now. Start with online. Don't worry about the face-to-face interaction because everyone is scared. Nobody wants to die. We don't know because you might have the disease and I don't have it, or people are still very uncertain and we don't know how long. But you can't give up on your startup because you've started and you can't close. Starting is very hard. Once you start, you just have to work on means to make sure you stay afloat. There's no reason why you shouldn't stay in business. You just have to design your business differently, choose a different model. There are strategies that are given here to try and survive in business. So for now, what I can say for startups is online, and online. Do deliveries, reach out to your family and friends. They're your first customers, and they're the ones who are going to sell your product. Also, you have to believe in your product as an entrepreneur. If you believe in it, you're going to talk about it. everywhere you go, it's something that should be on top of your lips. Talk about your product, the advantages of using your product. It should be, eventually people will come in because you believe in it. If you believe in something, you'll keep on talking about it. Then there's also one thing we neglect, is customer segmentation. Know your target customers. Who exactly are you targeting? What advantages are they going to get from your product? You know, and what problem are you solving? Then reach out to that particular group, that particular segment, and don't think about feeling frustrated, because eventually things will work. All businesses start from somewhere, but then you have to bring in customers so that they are able to pay. Yes, it's times are hard, but times are possible because other businesses are surviving. So there is no reason why your startup shouldn't survive. And then the question from Professor Maggie wasn't so clear on it, but I believe also suppliers.
Immaculate, I was just looking at the other customers that you also and but I think that human resource, the workers very well. So I think that yours was just the customer. The real customer who buys, but there's the other question, but I think the others have covered it.
Just to say a bit about the workers, just a small point is the workers also help you market your business. So if you have a proper customer-centered approach and you train it to your clients, to your customers, they'll be able to talk about your product with no problem. Also during this time, many of us have not really taken care of our employees. That is also a problem because we don't know what to do, especially SMEs. We don't know, it's easier to cut them off at this point because you want to reduce costs. But I think many companies have not done it the best way. But when you train them on what the company values are and what you're working towards, I'm sure it works out and they'll be able to sell the business, hence bringing in plus commission. Commission will encourage workers to bring in more employees, more customers. Anyway, and the online thing, many companies have gone online, and that is the normal today. We can't, there is no other way we are going to do it. Yes, there is a bit of contact right now because people have started adjusting because, I don't know, maybe in Uganda, people are not so scared anymore about COVID-19, but it's still there. So it is better to stick to the online thing. WhatsApp, do your WhatsApp thing. Put your products on status. Let people know it. Get your Facebook account up and running. Let people know it. Instagram, you don't worry about who comes. Just make sure you have traffic on those pages as you reach out also. Those who don't have online, they're also on SMS. You can send out your products. You can send out information about, like, sympathy messages, you know what's going on. What we are trying to do right now, most businesses have to stay relevant. And with staying relevant means you have to keep yourself out there. Let people not forget you. Every time they open the phone, let them see you've posted new products. There's still many people who impulse buy and they will come and buy from you. So long as your products are good. If you're online, what you show should be what you deliver. That's how we end up losing customers, because you're going to show something nice. Maybe you've downloaded images from the computer. Then when it's time to deliver, it's not what you've delivered, you know? But then we have to keep at it because that's the in thing right now.
Okay, thank you so much, Immaculate. Thank you so much for answering those questions and giving insight, a deeper level of insight on what you presented earlier. There are two questions for Maggie before we can come to the close of this function. Margaret, actually. Margaret, the question is, what kind of business would you recommend to start during these COVID times? Because you talked about diversifying, or, you know, being innovative, and especially for people who are in the entertainment or luxury product line, like you shared. That's one. Two, the next question was, for those that have startups and their products are not regarded as essential on the market, should they pause for now? Should they shut down? And if they do, if that's your advice, for how long? Maggie, you have about 2 minutes to answer these questions, and then we can get into the next part of the program. Maggie, are you there?
Hear me?
Margaret?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Please. Yes, we can hear you now.
I'm saying I'm just going to list the products, the businesses people can invest in, especially the startups. I would still recommend food, much as the prices are still low. Please go in for that. Foods that people are frequenting, especially posho. We shouldn't leave out posho and beans, and you know, those other foods people are frequenting, you know, within this period, given that people are not earning. Their baby clothes, baby industry, children's industry is still working. Babies are being born day and night. So that is another industry that is still on because mothers have to buy baby equipment and clothes. Therefore, as a startup, you can embrace it. Then there are PPEs, protective equipment for avoiding spread of COVID-19, the masks, the temperature measures, and all that sort. That is also can also be another invention. We have drugs. Drugs is also still a profitable venture, even during COVID. We shouldn't ignore it. And then land. Please invest into land, because there are so many people who are selling land right now to invest into their business, to get money to invest into their businesses. But a caution, when you're buying land, please be mindful on that land, that in case you want to resell in the fastest period possible, it can be sold off immediately. Do not go in for a too remote, you know, piece of land. And then on the second question, whether essentials startup who are not essentials should close off, I would say yes and no at the same time. You know your business is better. If especially you had started on, you may have measured the momentum at which your product, you know, had knocked off the market. If you feel you had started making some sales and right now you're not so indebted, you have been paying off the landlords, you have been paying off your suppliers, you're in good terms with the banks and your other investors, and your employees are not grumbling, I think it is better off to stay, because I mean, entrepreneurship is for all seasons. Even in this season, you have to strive to ensure your business, you know, stays on the market. And on no side, I would say yes, if especially ever since you started off your business, you have never made a sale. If your friends and family cannot even purchase the product you're selling right now, if you have so many debts with the banks, with your friends around you, with your landlords, with your suppliers, I would recommend that this is the time for you to first rest, reorganize yourself, pick up your pieces, and then re-strategize on how best you can hit the market again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Thank you for that insight. In a special way, again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, that is Piato, Eloquent Business Solutions, Imuka Access. We also want to thank the 97 Fund, and also, yes. So we're really grateful for all those. And I would also like in a special way to say thank you to our panelists who have stayed on from the beginning. You have been very, very wonderful. You've given very wonderful information to our participants. I've seen Mr. Joram answering questions in the chat, so everybody can actually see what he's sharing. Please go there if you want to find any of that information. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for participating. I hope that this has been a fruitful discussion for every one of you, and that from here on out, you'll be able to go and do some great things out there with the new strategies that you have been equipped with. We'll be looking forward to our other engagements on this platform, and hopefully you will join us again and be equipped with more skills and strategies on how we can, combat this thing in the business environment. So I'd like to invite Professor Maggie Chigozie to officially bring this e-conference to a close.
Thank you very much, Thomas. I wish to thank our panelists. This has really been an eye-opener. I've attended quite a few sessions looking at COVID and how particularly SMEs can manage. But today you really get down to what it is that they need to do. And I appreciate that in a special way, Margaret. I knew Margaret through another organization where we are together. Thank you very much. You gave a very good overall on right from attitude to the suppliers to optimizing. You took us through everything, and when we stopped halfway there, I kept on hoping Thomas would bring you back, and true, he did bring you back, and you completed your presentation. To the companies that are talking about finance, all of you, thank you so much. You've given us lots of ideas on how we can, first of all, get your help. We now know who to look for. Then also what we are supposed to do and how we can do it. So the expertise, you have the expertise as well. That was really, really great. Immaculate on customer care, yes, more than ever before. I think we need to up our game, and thank you for reminding us of that. Nile breweries, you took us through the human resource, which is a big problem. It really is. We've seen how you've done it. And Joram, innovation, thank you again. That was, a lot of it was new to me. I know I used to work very closely with ICT in particular, but yes, you've given us more and more ideas and more opportunities for support from government. I thought I'd share a little bit about, now breweries has talked about how they handled people, as Crown Beverages as well. The first month that lockdown was a complete disaster in that we had no sales. We had very few sales. So we were able to get our team, the staff, to work together. Some of them go on leave. Those who still had leave, take their leave. We did not want to either fire or reduce their salaries. They actually came and stayed in a big room that we have. We had beds and blankets, and they were able to stay on site because we were not allowed to move up and down during that time. So we do appreciate our staff, and you're so right. It is having that task force and listening and talking and comforting. A lot had to be done. On the farm, luckily agriculture not as badly hit on the farm itself. The food is available. Our people around were okay. They have their matoke and they were eating. Unlike people living in Kampala. That was really sad when government started providing food. So then we all contributed as well towards the COVID National Task Force. So I wish to thank you so much, Margaret, particularly for inviting me and enabling me to hear more than anything else. I was learning, and as Joram says, I do take any knowledge that I have and share it with very many people. So be sure many, many more people will know about this. It is my honor now to close this meeting and wait for the next one that you are going to organize for us, if it's going to be as good as this one. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the sponsors.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you all. Roy, everybody, thank you so much. God bless you and see you soon.